Kennection.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the Wrestling Connection. I'm your host with the most, your connection to the wrestling world, Ken Hill. Alongside me, as always, is the madman of professional wrestling, the hardcore enigma himself, Zach Martinkus.
What, everybody? The champ is here. Recognize.
I am forced to recognize because of our monthly contest with the WrestleMania Roundtable, and the pay-per-view having come and gone.
Yep.
Zach here was the winner with the most correct picks for WrestleMania.
Yep.
Which we'll be going over in our WrestleMania pay-per-view review.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna jump right into things. Jumping into the first match of WrestleMania, the kickoff match, if you will, the Fatal 4-Way Elimination Tag Team match with the Matadors versus Ryback versus the Real Americans versus the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very fast-paced, very enthusiastic match. Real good way to get the crowd into the swing of things for WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
The first two eliminations came pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Matadors going first.
Mm-hmm.
Ryback shortly after, thanks to Cesaro delivering a neutralizer to Ryback. So it came down to the Real Americans and the Usos, sort of like a mini feud building between the two teams, and it was a very fast-paced, very back-and-forth match. A lot of near falls. He wasn't sure who was going to come out on top, because the rumors have been running rampant that with the Real Americans were going to be sticking together, that they could possibly be getting a run with tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
The other half of that being that Cesaro, being ready for a singles run, was going to make his break, and we saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Because near the end, there was miscommunication between Swagger and Cesaro.
Yep.
Swagger knocks Cesaro from the ring. Cesaro knocks Swagger from the ring. Cesaro gets super kicked, superfly splashed, and the Usos remain your tag team champions.
Yeah.
Swagger tried to get in his face after. Cesaro said, I ain't having none of that. Gave Swagger the big old swing, and he was on his way. He was well on his way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I actually did make the prediction. I forgot. Did you?
I made the prediction that the Real Americans were going to win. I didn't say they were going to break up. So you can't give me that much credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit. All right. So the next match coming, which was first match was the start of kickoff. The next match was pretty dang obvious: Triple H versus Daniel Bryan, and we both predicted
Bryan was going to win. But what we didn't expect was how big a match it was going to be.
Oh,
it was a 26-minute match where we were reminded just how brutal and how technical Triple H can be, attacking Bryan's leg, attacking the bad shoulder that he injured two weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, just downright brutalizing Bryan, and Bryan surprised Hunter. I mean. Nailing a pair of dives to the outside, shotgun drop kicks, rolling German suplexes, which we haven't seen in a while. Again, these guys breaking stuff out that you don't at WrestleMania time. So, and ultimately, and then even Bryan kicking out of the pedigree,
which was like a major shocker. I mean, you figure a guy like Daniel Bryan would be one hit KO, but. No, this guy was about to do it. Just as Daniel Bryan was just looked like Triple H was about to do it one more time. Flips it over
flips
and
him over
gives
to
him the old knee plus.
The old solid knee plus, and of course Triple H being Triple H doesn't take it lying down, doesn't take the loss lying down, ambushes Bryan after the match, and re-injures his shoulder, which would prove critical going later into the night. Now coming up onto the next match.
Oh shit! What was that? Oh man, I'm sorry, people. I had it all written down with me though, and I totally forgot all about it. It was.
I believe the next. I believe that. Okay, well we'll go into the Undertaker versus Lesnar match.
Oh, oh man!
And believe me, folks, everyone here was. Zach and I were shocked. Our friends were shocked. Everyone around the world was shocked. I mean, you've seen the headlines in the newspapers, on all the websites, saying no one expected this to happen. No one expected Brock Lesnar to beat The Undertaker and subsequently end the streak. No one saw it coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, according to all the news reports online, like maybe 4 or 5 people outside of Undertaker, Lesnar, and Vince McMahon knew this was going to happen.
Wow. I mean, I'm sorry. This is a major tough topic to talk about because, as I've said before last week, the streak meant a lot to me, and to have someone as keep as irritated as possible, as egomaniacal, as dim-witted, and as power-hungry as Brock Lesnar, all because of why? Because why? Just to get the spotlight on him, to screw over an undefeated streak that went over almost a quarter of almost 25 years, only to have him.
But I mean, I understand what you're talking about, Zach. But on the flip side of this, you have to understand from just reality perspective. Taker was getting on in years. He's been badly injured every time he goes into WrestleMania. It's the whole reason why he's only scheduled to wrestle one time a year, because he couldn't wrestle a full-time schedule. I mean, unlike his brother Kane, who's still able to work a full-time schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the bottom line is, I mean, and we saw in the match, at their points, it looked like Taker was punch drunk. It looked like he was completely out of it. That he couldn't really rise to the occasion that he usually does. All of his moves seemed weaker. He didn't have the same sort of impact that he usually did against his opponents. Lesnar just simply came in and did what no one could do. Overwhelmed Taker to the point where he could not kick out. And let's face it, taking one F5 straight up is bad enough. Taking 2 is worse. Just ask Kurt Angle. Taking 3 F5s?
Man,
it's not something a lot of people can come back from.
Oh, I know, and I've never had doubts when it came to the Undertaker and his undefeated streak. But this match, for those who did watch it, would agree with me that after that second F5, that there was no way. There was no way Taker was going to win this one. And I've never had doubts in my life when it came to the Undertaker, but all I'm going to say, though, about this topic, Taker, no one in the history will ever repeat your streak. Ever. Maybe some people might get close, but besides the point, we want to thank you for not only giving us more than over 2 decades of absolute domination, but the simple fact of how great of a wrestler, a performer, an entertainer, and someone just never giving up. So, to give respect to you, man, no matter what, you will always be the Phenom, the Dead Man Inc. You will always be my hero, my inspiration. I want to become a wrestler and wanting to win this.
I'll be the first to admit. I mean, like I said, Taker was one of the wrestlers I grew up with. During when I first got into wrestling, during the end of the Attitude Era, just watching him metamorphosis from the motorcycle rider to the dead man to the phenom. It was a very unique experience. Just watching the streak really take off. I mean, ironically, WrestleMania 17, the first WrestleMania I saw, the first pay-per-view I ever saw, was when they first really started making light. They started bringing up the streak, the fact that Taker was undefeated, and now here's the irony, that 13 years later, we see the end of it. We're able to see all the way to the end of Undertaker's streak when we really didn't think it was possible. We really didn't think it was going to happen, and it did. And I just want to say that, I mean, Taker, I want to thank you for, I mean, all the great matches that you put on with all the opponents that you put on. And while I do believe that Shawn Michaels is who he is when he says he's Mr. WrestleMania, Undertaker personifies WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. That on the biggest stage, the lights on brightest, he comes out and puts on a performance of a lifetime, and if he doesn't, it won't be for a lack of trying.
All right.
So now moving on, we had the
corporates versus the Shield.
We had Corporate Kane and the Corporate Outlaws versus the Shield, and this pretty much went as you expect. Because I mean, you had the Shield facing prime time opposition, like opponents in the prime, like John Cena, like Sheamus, like Mark Henry, and Big Show, and you were expecting guys who had been to a tag team that hadn't been relevant since the Attitude Era,
right? And
Kane, who really hadn't, who's kind of lost that edge, that fire, pardon the pun, coming in, and it doesn't really surprise that the Shield pretty much steamrolled them.
Pretty much.
Just like 3 minutes later, a spear to Kane by Roman Reigns, a double spear from Roman Reigns to both members of the Outlaws, and then a triple powerbomb,
which was absolutely phenomenal. Like that's all I can say.
And just I mean the Shield stood dominant at WrestleMania. So I mean again to the shock of no one. Mm-hmm. So then we had the Vicky Guerrero Divas Championship Invitational, and no one in this group between you, me, Ori, and Tommy thought that AJ was going to come over for a championship, and yet lo and behold, she manages to make Cameron of the Funkadactyls submit with her Black Widow submission.
Yep.
And I did look over that match. Zach and I had a little argument about this. You will see that AJ actually used Cameron's hand to make her tap out. A little unintentional tribute to Vicky's late husband, Eddie Guerrero. A little sneaky right there in picking up the championship win. Didn't. Sadly, though, Karma didn't let it go unnoticed, as we'll talk about in the review of the Raw review later in the show.
And then, I believe there was.
Then we had Bray Wyatt versus John Cena.
Oof.
Now, here's what I understand. I get that storyline speaking, Cena should have won, but and they put on a great match. They told a great story with this match. Bray was trying to play into Cena's insecurities. He was trying to get the monster in Cena to come out to essentially either get himself disqualified or simply just to go crazy. That's what Bray wanted, and Bray nearly got that, only for Cena to say, "Oh no, I'm not going to turn on the kids. I'm not going to turn on the fans. I'm not even going to turn on those who don't like me. I'm staying who I am." I'm sorry, but seriously, Bray should have won this. Bray should have won this. Cena benefits nothing from winning this. In the long run, he benefits nothing from winning this match. You had Bray you had Cena for the longest time saying he's the measuring stick. The future of the WWE goes through him. Mm-hmm. Well, if he's not going to put someone like Bray over or something, even though Bray he drew the audience in. I mean, you had Bray Wyatt leading the audience he's got the whole world in his head. He had the crowd singing during his match. He pretty much drew them in with his charisma. He drew them in with his cult leader like personality. It was just a sight to watch. And what would have capped that off is him winning the match, and it didn't happen.
Well, I mean, I'll give the devil his due. That was just one of those, like,
in so many words.
Whatever. That match was pretty crazy, but there's just a few things on there that guy, I'm not even kidding, he creeps me the heck out. For one thing, his music, the fact that actually, this is actually going to be kind of a first for me doing this, but one creepy thing one of the things he did was, by the way, this is the first time I'm really doing this for everybody, so.
Now, just imagine this. Just imagine this with a full-on beard and just a big freaking smile. And just Bray did that when Cena was going for one of his signature moves, the five knuckle shuffle. For the first time, Cena was actually stopped short because Bray pretty much did that exorcist pose, and stopped Cena in his tracks.
Mm-hmm.
We'd never seen that happen with Cena, and it was so surreal, and it honestly creeped me out a little. I knew it creeped you out, and it's just for the first time, like I said, this is the first time Cena was going into a match where he was being undermined in every way but physically.
Yeah.
And somehow he still managed to come out top. I know, typical Cena fanfare.
Yeah. And then I think we let's see.
Then we had the Andre the Giant Invitational Battle Royal, which originally had 30 men, but then interestingly enough, it turns out we ended up having 31 men because Cesaro, fresh off his break from the Real Americans in the pre-show, interjected himself into the Battle Royal. Now, of course, I had picked Dolph Ziggler, who did make it to the final six.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, though, he got eliminated partway through.
Yeah, and everybody, for the record, though, I know I did say that it was tough between choosing Sheamus or Big Show.
He did eventually choose Big Show.
Yes, I did choose Big Show, and I was about an inch away from being almost right, but I lost as well.
Exactly, because it came down to Big Show and Cesaro.
Mm-hmm.
Looked like Big Show was closing on the win, but he had swatted Cesaro out of the air, coming off on a dive. Looked like he was at the toss-up, but Cesaro slips off of Big Show's shoulder, gives him a European uppercut, and then just in the shocker of the night, Cesaro. You have to remember, Cesaro was around 240, 250.
Yeah.
He picked, and Big Show's around 470 pounds.
Yeah.
He picks up Big Show in a scoop slam and tosses him over the rope. Full over the rope. Not like he pushes him over the rope.
Literally tosses this guy
over the top rope to the floor, picking up the win and Cesaro getting his WrestleMania moment. Something that brought the crowd to its feet.
Oh my God! Yeah, that was just like, wow.
It was
even I was in shock and awe. Oh man.
I know.
And then let's see what.
Then I believe we come to the triple threat match.
Yep.
The triple threat match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. We had the champion Randy Orton against the winner of the 2014 Royal Rumble, Batista, versus the winner of the Daniel Bryan Triple H match, which was of course Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
Now of course Bryan was coming this injured once again, thanks to Triple H.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting dichotomy right here. But the bottom line is, at one point, Bryan had Batista in the yes lock. He had him in the crossface. He was ready to tap him out. He was closing the championship. And who comes running through the crowd but the Authority? Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and shockingly enough, the crooked referee from last year's Night of Champions pay-per-view, Scott Armstrong.
Yep.
And just Bryan looks around. He realizes, oh, dear God, the fix is in. Batista powerbombs him. Armstrong tries to go into a fair count.
Yep.
And Bryan kicks out.
Yeah.
And then this sequence just gets crazier from here. When Armstrong goes in to check on Bryan, Bryan kicks the crooked ref, who falls to the outside. Triple H and Stephanie go to check on Armstrong. Bryan just says, forget this, runs off the ropes, catapults to the outside, onto knocking down Triple H, Armstrong, and Stephanie.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then he goes back into face off with Batista. Triple H, seeing this, gets fed up, goes to get his sledgehammer, try to get one last shot on Bryan. Bryan knocks it away, and then to the delight of the crowd, takes the hammer, clocks Triple H in the face with it, and the Authority is essentially removed from the match. But then it just escalates even further when Batista and Orton double team, gang up on Bryan, like laying him out with the steel steps. Just bashing him off the ring post, off of the barricade, and then just in the second spot of the night. A tandem Batista bomb
into an RKO
through an announce table,
which it knocked both Daniel Bryan and freaking Batista. Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton out, which really seemed redundant.
And it actually legitimately concussed Orton, left him, because there was a TV monitor that they hadn't removed, and it ended up giving Orton a major cut on his back. So I mean, great job by Orton to be able to like finish the match in the condition he was in. But I mean, just we thought that Bryan was out here. They brought the EMTs out. They brought the stretcher out. We thought, oh, it's just going to be Batista and Orton now. And it seemed like when Orton was closing in on Batista, suddenly Bryan, who's been wheeled halfway up the entrance ramp, says, no. Bryan just to fight his way out and fight back into the match to the complete disbelief of both Orton and Batista. Then it just gets crazy at the end. I mean, guys interrupting pinfalls. Bryan had Orton in the yes lock. Batista breaks it up. Bryan had Batista in the yes lock. Orton breaks it up. Batista takes out Bryan with a spear. Batista bombs a Randy Orton. And I mean, just RKO to Batista, and Batista kicks out. Then Bryan manages to hit Orton with a solid knee plus. And Batista throws Bryan out of the ring, and Orton kicks. And when Batista covers Orton kicks out. Then Batista nails Orton with another Batista bomb, and we think, oh, that's it. Then Bryan comes in out of nowhere, hits the solid knee plus, transitions that right into the yes lock. Batista's trapped in the middle of the ring and has no choice but to tap out.
And all I can say is, thank you, Daniel Bryan. You listened to what I said. You not only kicked the crap out of the Authority, but you also dethroned the second paper-freaking champion. Thank you, God. You finally own the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Dude, I'm proud of you.
We're all very proud. Bryan had his WrestleMania moment, and he would certainly have his moments on Raw. Before we go into this week in review, take a few moments to acknowledge the passing of a legendary superstar, one of the most wildest, craziest, just one of the most.
Guys, we're gonna have a moment of silence.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are going to have a moment of silence for the man only known as the Ultimate Warrior. Well, I mean, the Ultimate Warrior was actually inducted into the 2014 WWE Hall of Fame this past weekend. Just a fantastic person. Like I said, one of the wildest, one of the craziest superstars you could ever know. He was during the 80s, during the 90s. He was second only in popularity to Hulk Hogan. He was just this wild fanatic guy. I mean, obviously the way his promos never made a lick of sense. But I mean, just the energy he had, that he brought to every match, to every promo, to every pay-per-view, to every he just had that aura, that energy that you just embraced. You couldn't understand it. You couldn't really comprehend it. You just went with it.
Yeah, it just I couldn't believe it. I mean, even when I read up on the story on it, and for those who don't really know about it, this past Tuesday he was walking his way from his hotel.
Well, I mean, we don't know exactly the details of what happened. We don't know all the details. What we do know, I mean, is that he had a very heartfelt speech for the fans on Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Just telling them, okay, they're the ones responsible for giving not only Warrior that energy, they're responsible for for giving that sort of energy to every superstar that comes through that curtain. They're the ultimate ones. They're the ones who inspire the wrestlers to be their best.
Right.
And that was a man who had not he certainly hadn't acquiesced himself. He certainly hadn't appealed himself to others, just with the way he pretty much became absorbed in his character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wasn't very well liked, and the fact is, it was for understatement of sorts.
Right.
It took him many years to really come to terms, to really settle things with the big names, with Hulk Hogan, one of his biggest rivals in both Ultimate Warrior's and Hogan's career.
Mm-hmm. I mean, who could forget? The rivalry at WrestleMania, like when
he kicked out of the leg drop, when Ultimate Warrior kicked out of the leg drop and then splashed Hogan to not only unify the Intercontinental and WWE titles, but to beat Hulk Hogan clean at WrestleMania.
Never been done.
Not many can say that.
Yeah, and not to mention those two were also. I'm so sure. Was it the Omega Powers? Is that what they're?
It was the Mega Powers, Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan.
Oh shoot, my mistake. I could have sworn those two were. I thought Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan when they were tag team partners.
No, they were tag team partners once upon a time, but essentially they faded. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize. We had some technical difficulties here at the studio. We'll have our picture back momentarily.
Yep. So don't worry, we ain't going anywhere. Just blame the computers. Just kidding. Technology's awesome.
Technology marches on, ladies and gentlemen.
As long as it's not Judgment Day, that's all I care about. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been like in Terminator. Okay, now we're good.
We're back? We're back. All right. Okay, we're back.
Sweet.
So we're
all right.
So we're back. Again, this week in review. Again, we had Warriors final speech on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
We also kicked off with Daniel Bryan and Triple H. Bryan going out and celebrating, and I mean, this was essentially the best week in Bryan's life. He said so himself today on SmackDown, just saying, okay, he's getting married. He won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, his whole career coming full circle, and he embraced it. And of course, Triple H was out there to spoil the mood, essentially saying that Bryan's first championship defense would be against him later that night. Of course, Triple H swinging his power around as COO. We had a surprising 6-man tag team match. With Sheamus, Big E Langston, the Intercontinental Champion, Big E Langston, and John Cena facing off the Wyatt family. And just you have to understand these post-WrestleMania crowds. The night after on Raw, they're crazy. They're still all charged up. They're so excited. And you not only had them singing along with Bray Wyatt.
He's got the whole world in his hands.
Yeah, they actually changed up Cena's music lyrics a little bit. John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. And it was just a sight to see. I was cracking up. And the Wyatts surprisingly getting a dominating win here, despite who they were going up against. And then well, I've got some bad news.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, you had bad news. You had Bad News Barrett coming out from the JBL and Cole show on WWE.com, picking up a big win over Rey Mysterio.
Shock and awe! You finally came out of wrestling.
Yeah. Just so much was going on Raw. I mean, not to mention all the arrivals from NXT, all the debuts. We talked earlier about how AJ managed to survive the Divas Championship Invitational, but karma would come back to pay her in a big way. She came out on Raw bragging about her 295-day reign.
And who comes out better than the NXT Women's Champion, Paige?
Paige, who was simply there to congratulate AJ. She had no intent of wrestling. She had no intent of any sort of challenges.
Yeah.
But AJ just gives her face because she thinks Paige is being sarcastic or other. She doesn't need her thanks. She did this all on her. She revolutionized Divas. She saved the Divas division. She is the Divas division, which has some truth to it, but
but honestly, it's just a lot of this.
Yes, and she talked herself into this. AJ talked herself. She forced Paige into a championship match,
which is a little redundant.
I mean, both JBL and Michael Cole admitted Paige has never wrestled on the big stage before. She's never wrestled at Raw. She's never wrestled in WWE. She's wrestled in NXT. She's the NXT Women's Champion, of course.
Yeah.
But she wasn't ready for WWE. And yet when AJ, when they started the match, just out of nowhere, Paige hits that trip over that she calls the Paige Turner. That coming from this, I know it's kind of a little hypocritical coming from me, but really kind of a punny name for a finisher. And pins AJ.
1, 2, and 3.
Not only become the first diva in history to be a champion both in the developmental and in World Wrestling Entertainment. It has never happened before.
Yeah, not to mention she held. She held the NXT and the Divas Championship at the simultaneously.
She's holding them at the same time right now. That has never happened.
No.
And you have to understand, Paige is not the typical diva. I mean, she's essentially as pale as Sheamus. Sheamus wishes he was as pale as Paige was. I mean, dark hair, dark eyelashes, just.
Not to mention, was she part of Ascension too?
Well, yeah. A little vague for those who don't watch NXT. Ascension being the NXT Tag Team Champions, coming up through the WWE developmental system, and just Paige was a part of that, and she just seemed to fit in so well just because she wore dark clothing, because she had the dark hair, the dark brooding eyes, and just for girl who she admitted was a fan of AJ, coming up and just out of nowhere upsetting AJ, ending her 295-day reign as Divas champion, almost in a flash, was shocking to everyone. It was shocking to AJ, and it was shocking most of all to Paige because she wasn't expecting this.
Well, not to mention though, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you say this or not, but didn't she also break out of the Black Widow?
Well, no. Well, actually, yes, she did break out of the Black Widow submission and subsequently hit her page turner finishing move to get the win. Okay. And then of course you had the other NXT rivals. You had the Viginettes for Adam Rose, for Bo Dallas. I mean, you had Alexander
Rusev.
Super athletic Alexander Rusev making his debut in dominant fashion. Tapping out Zack Ryder with the camel clutch.
Which is typical, and you know what? And I'm sorry to say this, but this is something I gotta get off my chest. Alexander Rusev, you've said you've said these stupid promos nonstop, but there's no tomorrow. I'm sorry. Can you speak a stinking thing of English? Otherwise, if not, I swear to God, I will fight you. Want this boy?
Really?
But yeah, I'm definitely calling your rear end out because we are getting sick and tired of this. Because, okay, yes, you made a heck of a debut at the Royal Rumble. You did.
It took 4 men to throw him out.
Yeah, took 4 dudes to knock your rear end out. And I'm sorry, but you may rip off the camel clutch. For me, I actually have something original. It's called, in case you're all wondering, it's called the Lights Out. In case you're wondering what that is, put it this way. Picture a formation of the Dominator, except before you slam him down, knee him in the gut, and then future shock DDT. Ergo, lights out. But in all honest opinion, Rusev, whatever. I don't give a crap. The Bulgarian brute. I am the Bulgarian brute. Look at me. I am muscular. Yeah, you know what, dude? 2 words for. Wait, am I allowed to?
No. No, I think we'd have.
Okay, yeah, dude, I got 2 words for you, man. And DX, this may write me up, but guess what, man? I don't give a crap. 2 words for you, man. I am the real deal. Recognize.
We're gonna be paying royalties out the nose to Triple H.
Yeah, well, guess what? Me, I don't give a crap. I'm sorry, I don't give a rat's rear end. Hopefully that's okay. But there you go.
Okay, then we'll go to Shawn Michaels. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on. Moving on to the end of Raw.
We
were seemingly closing in on the championship match. Bryan versus Triple H. When shocker of shockers, Orton and Batista, who
along with Kane,
lay Bryan out with all their finish with the choke slam, RKO, Batista bomb.
Yep.
Then suddenly Triple H makes his fantastic entrance with wife Stephanie in tow, and it seems like once again the screws are being put to Daniel Bryan. But then the Shield makes their entrance, and what's interesting is that a little bit earlier, when the Shield were at odds with Kane, Stephanie, and right before Stephanie interrupted and told them to get on the same page, Kane accidentally admitted that Triple H was the one who put the hit out on the Shield to be ambushed by all of those different tag teams a couple weeks ago on SmackDown.
Oopsie.
Something I mentioned that methinks Kane doth protested too much.
Yeah.
And that was essentially the turning point for the Shield. They came out, they got in the face of Triple H, Roman Reigns spearing Triple H out of his boots, and the Shield taking out Kane, taking out Batista and Orton, and then to cap it all off, Bryan once again laying out Triple H with the solid knee plus, the Shield and Bryan standing tall.
Which, and honestly, in my opinion, this is the Shield versus the Authority. Please let. And this is basically, would you agree this is the start of the Shield versus the Authority?
And I've got 2 words that I want to see this feud culminate at Extreme Rules.
Mm-hmm.
War Games. Like I said, the Shield want war. I hope the Authority gives them war, and we all know how big a fan Triple H is of War Games. It's how he came up with the Elimination Chamber in the first place. I would love to see War Games make a return in a few weeks at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view.
No, I thought it was Eric. I hate saying this guy's name because this guy sucks.
Eric Bischoff introduced the idea on television. Triple H was the one who actually came up. He based it off of the War Games concept from WCW. He tweaked it a little bit. And Eric Bischoff, who was the Raw general manager in 2002, introduced the concept on air to the audience.
All right. Okay. I guess you.
So now, I mean, we had the Zack attack, a impromptu Zack attack, if you will.
Yes.
There is someone I want to call out.
And that never gets old.
No, it's never gonna get old. Just thank goodness we don't care about Dixie Carter or anyone else from TNA suing us. Otherwise
don't even mention that broad's name.
Or otherwise we'd be hearing from the wolves in TNA.
Yep.
Anyway, the one I've been looking to call out. Is Cesaro. I mean, he's had a great week. You've had one of the best, right up there with Brian. You've had one of the most fantastic weeks of your life. Now, this is where you need to make the most of it. This is where you, Cesaro, have to make a name for yourself. You have to cement yourself as the future of the WWE. You have your opportunity. It's right here. You got your WrestleMania moment. You've aligned yourself with one of the greatest names, one of the greatest icons in wrestling today, one of the greatest managers in Paul Heyman, who has managed 3 world champions in his lifetime. And now you have the chance. Now you're in the same position Lesnar was in 2002. Now you're the next big thing. Now you're the next big superstar. You are the next big physically dominant individual to come in here. You are freakishly strong. You can lift anyone. You can slam anyone. We saw on Friday where you gave a neutralizer pile driver to the Big Show, who, ladies and gentlemen, is 470 pounds, and you had someone like Cesaro. I mean, he's not as well defined as Cena or Ryback, but he essentially deadlifted Big Show on his knees alone, 470 pounds, and slammed him to the ground.
Never been done before, but still.
It's a sight to see. And I want Cesaro to be a sight to see for months, for years to come. You have your opportunity, and I suggest you make the most of it. Because if you decide just to settle into things, if you decide just to lay back and enjoy the ride with Heyman, he's going to pull the rug from under you. You have to make a statement. You have to show that you are here. Cesaro has arrived. That you have to make the biggest impression possible. Otherwise, you're going to be like Curtis. You're going to be like Curtis Axel. Mm-hmm. You're going to be tossed to the side. You're going to be forgotten about within 2-3 months.
Not to mention Ryback too.
Not to mention Ryback, who we thought was going to be the next big Heyman guy, and look what happened to him. Yeah. So, I'm telling this to Cesaro. You've got your chance now. Now you are firmly in the limelight. You are firmly in the spotlight with Heyman at your side. And you had best make the most of it. Otherwise, thank you. otherwise, I just don't see where he's gonna end up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has been a very emotional. It's been a very exciting week for us here at the Wrestling Connection for wrestling in general. I mean, there are a lot of questions to ask. I mean, with the Shield having cemented themselves on the side of justice, of the side of good, I mean, where we're going to see their feud with the Authority go next. I mean, how is Triple H going to respond to the Shield turning on him and his wife? I mean, who's going to step up and challenge Bryan for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship? Is Randy Orton going to get his rematch since he was never pinned or submitted in the triple threat match?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are so many questions that need answering. Like Extreme Rules is coming up in a few weeks.
Yep.
We kind of need to know what's going to be the direction. Who's Bryan going to be facing? Like I said, how is Triple H going to respond to the Shield? I mean, what's the next step for Cena and Wyatt? Wyatt making his intentions clear. He's not done with Cena by a long shot.
Yeah.
And you saw him, if you watched SmackDown today, if you saw Bray's promo with Cena, the dude was smiling. This is a guy who lost on the biggest stage of WrestleMania. To Cena, and yet he was smiling, which was, and he realized he came this close. He said he was this close to getting Cena to unleash that monster, to be who Bray truly thinks he is on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's just going to have to push. He's going to have to go to new extremes. He's just going to have to give him that little extra push to really bring that monster outside of Cena. And God only knows how that's going to happen. How Bray's going to do that. But for,
do we have enough time to do the what a maneuver?
Well,
Yes.
Okay.
For Zack and Ken's
no, we already discussed that.
Yeah. All right. So.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, to cap off today's show, we had decided to do a small tribute to the Ultimate Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
One of his signature maneuvers was the Ultimate Splash, essentially a military press, drops the opponent to the ground, springs off the ropes, and splashes him on the mat.
Wait, hold on. You sure you're not talking about the gorilla press?
No, that was the military, the gorilla press, drops him to the ground, springs off the ropes, and splashes him for the 1, 2, 3.
I thought you just went for the as soon as the dude was slammed down, and just went for the.
Well, no, yeah, he gorilla pressed him.
Okay.
Drops him to the ground, runs off the ropes, and splashes him. That's what I was saying. The gorilla and the military press are the same thing.
All right.
I mean, it's a move popular. It's a move that many big men have used over the careers, the running splash.
Mm-hmm.
But Ultimate Warrior popularized it. He is essentially within the same vein as the leg drop.
Mm-hmm.
You had.
All right. So. All right.
So
as I said before, kids, do not try this at home. And I'm trying to be, in this case, just don't try it at home, unless you're professional at this. I'm a semi-professional at this, so yeah.
Semi, right?
Ah, shut up.
All right. So
All right.
I've been laid out with a gorilla press.
Yep. Over from the turnbuckle and. And as I said before, kids, do not try this at home. Honestly, that particular, do not try at home. Not smart, and he can't hurt someone. Honest to God.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. Again, all respects and condolences go out to to the Ultimate Warrior and his family. And to, again, another brief moment of silence.
Hey.
Stay cool, stay frosty, stay connected.
The Wrestling Connection.